Hey everybody, this is Dr. Matt O'Neill here from Zavell with my good friend.
Justin Curatola.
Awesome. Welcome every lovely, lovely Nashville today. It is a little bit cloudy here, but it's better than a blizzard in Nebraska. And I want to say Deja. And we're in wonderful Nashville, Tennessee. It's great to be back. It's an amazing town. There's so much life here. There's so much vibrancy when you come in. There's just an energy when you come in here, and it could be the fact that we've been in snow in Nebraska and just had white on white for the last six months probably, and we have 12 inches of snow. This is how bad the snow is in Nebraska. My daughter dropped her iPhone in the snow walking through the park across the street from our house, and that was, I think, 2 weeks ago, and it just melted, luckily enough, before we left that we actually found the thing. She was out there with a rake going through the snow. There's 12 inches of snow, so bad stuff there, man.
That's crazy.
Now they got flood warnings, and Denver got 10 feet. I don't know. They got a lot of so what we're talking about today, amongst a ton of subjects, is how and when to ask for help. Where this comes up is I'll tell a little story here. I had a patient the other day, and we'll say she's in her 80s and was in some type of an accident, and the person, she didn't have a vehicle yet, and so one of her friends came and helped her. And she goes, "Oh, I just hate asking, we'll call her Ruth. Well, I just hate asking Ruth to help me." And I said, "Okay, I'm going to call this lady Mary." I said, "Mary, how often do you think Ruth is actually asked for help?" It probably actually makes her feel good. So there's a couple things of how do you ask for help. Number one is what I do is I call people, and I won't say, so like Debbie, if I needed Ken's help for something, I wouldn't call him and say, "Hey, Ken, man, I know you're really busy. I know you got these companies and you're traveling." I want to preface my statement. I want to preface my question of that I need something from him or from you even. What I would do is I'd say, "Hey, Ken, I have this thing that's going on. We need to move Dad back this weekend. Are you available to help?" And if he says no, that's an okay thing. But I need to know that I have value to other people. That's a huge thing, because when we start to preface a statement of stating, "Oh, hey, I know you're busy, blah, 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 blah," what you're doing is you're demeaning yourself. You're devaluating yourself, and you're devaluing yourself, as opposed to saying, "You know what? I have intrinsic value, and I know this person is busy. I know they have things going on. We all do. That's called life. But I also know that if they can help me, that they will. So I have value to that person, that I'm having value to that person." The other thing is, when do you ask for help? All right, you ask for help when you need help. Kind of makes sense, right?
Yeah.
It's not complicated. When you need help, you ask for help. Otherwise, what you at risk doing is you're working yourself to the bone. You're just digging yourself in a deeper and deeper hole, when all you had to do is ask for somebody else with a shovel right there. They can jump in, they can start digging with you, right? Or they can throw you a rope and help pull you out. So that's when you ask for help. And the reason you did is because you value other people, okay? So Mary actually had to value Ruth and her time to ask for help. And what I told her, I said, "Listen, Mary, if you didn't ask for help for Ruth when you needed it, what you're doing is you're preventing Ruth from blessing you." And so there was a story that I told her. Then I said, I had a friend that had financial troubles years ago, and I was talking to them, a year ago, whatever. And then they started explaining how they had these financial troubles. And I was actually very upset with that person, in a healthy way, of course. But it was like, "Listen, man, you had problems and you didn't ask me." Like, what you did was, number one, you were acting out of pride or shame or whatever. But number two is you prevented me from the ability to bless you. Maybe I only had $50, right? Maybe I only had 1,000, whatever it was. But you stole that opportunity from me to help you out. And so what he said was, he's stating that he didn't value me at that point and what I had to offer him. And therefore, he also limited himself and made it harder on himself in the process. So how do you ask for help? You just assume that people want to help you because you're awesome. And when do you ask for help? When you need it, because you assume that they have value and that they can help you out. They can throw you a rope. And that's part of this friendship thing that we've been talking about these last couple of days.
Absolutely.
Is if I'm drowning, I got to call Justin and be like, man, I got this stuff going on and I'm just overwhelmed, or, I got to be able to do that. I don't have a set of friends that call me and just complain, nor would Justin ever allow me to complain. He's going to allow me to vent, but then we're going to find a solution and an outcome of what's going on. So that's just kind of a life lesson that I've been talking with my patients about for years, and just brought it up with this lady this week. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think that we all go through our different things. It might be financial, it might be you're quitting smoking, you're quitting dipping. Right now, I'm quitting dipping, and it is extremely hard. And so I'm very lucky that I have Matt around me. Mike's been helping me with that, Mike Cimarelli, just the group in general. It's okay to be transparent about it. It's hard, the ability with that is through transparency, you get a very big variety of people that care about you to protect you. I've always been a very strong-willed person, and I've always felt within business that I could handle anything, right? The thing about quitting something, okay, that is hard, it might be easy in your mind, but you will go through different, it might be financial withdrawal, it might be, for me, it was dip, okay, irritable moods, okay, but that's what friendship is all about. It's all about being there for each other and helping each other. With me, with the dip, yeah, it's been extremely hard, very irritable, very transitional, I would say. And so, I think that's the beauty of anything that you're doing within friendship and with transparency, is that you have the ability to tap into your friends for help. And it is harder to ask for help than it is to fake it. Okay. With that said, when you ask for help, it's the ability to get better in what you're doing. I think Dr. Matt hit it perfectly on what he said. It's a transfer within the ability to count on your friends and to show how much you care about them, that you're asking their opinion and their strength to help you. That's the beauty of friendship, is that if people are truly your friends, they want the best out of you. So per se, Matt will stay on me. Will stay on me about dip, and Mike's been working with me on that too. He's checking on me every day. He's working with me, and you're gonna have your slip ups, you're gonna have your mess ups and things like that. But that's all stuff that you talk about. At the end of the day, you're only as good as the network that you have. And if you're totally transparent what you're going through, then you'll have the ability to get it fixed. Doesn't mean that's going to be easy. Mostly everything that is worth having is hard. So be totally transparent, be totally understanding with your vulnerability within yourself, and look to your friends to help you.
Yeah, because you want friends that'll actually do a step ahead of time, right? You're going to want not that friend to be like, oh man, you messed up, you started smoking again, or you had a cigarette or whatever, and you're better than that. Yeah, you need those people as well, right? You need those people that are going to lift you up. But you also need the transparency that Justin was talking about, was not, have I had a dip or not, right? The transparency is actually, why are you craving the dip, outside of the addiction portion of it, right, with the nicotine and that type of thing. But why? What is the why? What's your trigger? What are the things that are happening then? Because that's what I actually need to be involved with, right? That's what I actually need to be watching for and being on there, right? So if I know that stress is an indicator or a trigger for Sarah, my wife here, for whatever, I need to be watching her stress level, right? I need to be observant and learning and be a student of her, so that I can see when that's starting to spike. And when it is, I need to be able to call her on that, in a gentle way, of course, but be like, hey, how you doing right now? Are you getting kind of stressed out? Like, what's going on? Justin definitely does that with me with eating, right? I am like clockwork, have to
Absolutely.
eat, have to be on my structure, because I've set my life up so structured with sleep and exercise and eating and all these different types of things over the years, that when I stray from that structure, it's hard on me. I'm getting better, but it's still hard. And so this morning, Sarah could see that I was stressed out. Sarah could see that I was struggling. And what did we do? She's like, you got to go get some protein. I'm like, nope, candy. And she knew that sugar was just going to get me that little bit of a high, and then I was going to fall off. So what did we do? We stopped at a Kroger. We went in. We got Greek yogurt. I was complaining about Greek yogurt versus just regular yogurt, right? I was kind of fighting the process this morning. And as soon as I got that Greek yogurt, the granola in me, my protein bar, a cup of coffee, that type of thing, I was set. But she stopped me, not when I was crashing on the other end, but checking me ahead of time, saying, "Hey, how are you doing? Let's focus on this." And I had to let her help me, right? I had to find value in myself, that, yeah, you know what, I do deserve help. And I also value her, that she has the ability to help me. So it's kind of that full circle thing.
Yeah, Matt's like a gremlin. If you feed him chicken after midnight, he turns into a gremlin, you know?
Yeah.
The funny part about that is that anybody that knows Matt and that loves Matt and is very close with Matt can actually see when he's starting to go that way. Not because he's mean in any way, but you just learn
My tells.
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. And so that's something that I'm very well tuned in with him, because I'm with him quite a bit, and I can tell Matt's moods very systematically, just as Sarah can. And so, we work through that. We work through that together as a team, and I'm very lucky to be able to be part of that, and vice versa. He does the same thing for me with the things that I go through. So that's the ability to tap into your friends and really work on what is best for them and not best for them. Matt is playing on the computer screen right now, and that scares me because the whole system might shut down like Instagram and Facebook did yesterday.
Trying to react to your comment you're trying to react to was deleted.
It's okay.
Okay, cool. I was just replying to you, Sarah. Yeah, and what's interesting is when I first started in business. So here's a pitfall that most people will fall into on both sides of their of business, right? When you first start out, the fear is if you tell people what you're doing, then they will be able to damage you in some way, right? You have to keep your cards really. You can't be vulnerable to people, right? You can't have openness with new friends. Maybe you move to a new city, right? Whatever. You have to keep your cards really, really close. Otherwise, people are going to steal from you. They're going to damage you. The wrong thing will destroy your business, whatever. So you do that. And then you learn over time that you'll just break. And so you start to gain friendships, you start to grow, and you start to open up. And then you enter into this life of just openness, and it's wonderful. You have lots of friends, people that truly care about you, business partners, employees that truly care about you, truly care about the success of the business. And then you have the other ditch, which is at the end of a career. As you get so high up, you start to limit your people as well. Because then you say, wow, we are so big. If I let somebody in now, I could destroy the entire business on the other end, right? So there's a ditch on both sides, and I think both of them are wrong. The way that we're doing Zavelle is, man, we're going deep with people very, very quickly. It doesn't matter if you're a brand new sales rep, if you're an intern, if it's whatever. There's a deepness and an open and a transparency very, very quickly with everybody, because we know that, number one, that's a better way of life. Number two, it's a better way of business. Number three is we don't have time to spend years cultivating things and growing things. We have days, we have weeks, we have months. And so we've learned to go intensive very quickly with people. And therefore, we're going to get a better outcome for ourselves and for them. We're not going to be operating out of fear. They're not going to be operating out of fear. We operate out of transparency, honesty, and integrity. And yeah, it's a much better way of doing it, I think.
Yeah, and I think that, Matt really touched on something really important, was the fear factor. In my personal life, I lived almost 36 years within fear. I didn't think that I had fear. But I did have fear. I had fear of myself. And if that makes sense, I had fear of letting myself be great. Like other people looked at me and some of the things that I had accomplished in life and the people that I had worked for, and they thought that was very admirable, and they thought that was very very solid. But what I didn't realize is that my fear came from me working on myself, not in a business sense, but in a personal realm. And what that meant for me was the ability to tap into what I truly wanted in life, which was really good friends. It had nothing to do with money. It had everything to do with helping people and being totally transparent and living a quality life based upon my belief system. And once I could tap into that, everything opened for me. It wasn't just the knowledge part. It was the ability to tap into better quality of people within my belief system. And then it was the ability to look at myself and analyze myself and become a better person. And what I realized was if I couldn't see myself getting old with that friend and seeing that friend in my mind, 60 years from now, us walking with walkers, then I wasn't going to keep those people in my life, because life is too short and your friends really have no monetary evaluation. You can't put a price on that. So I was very lucky to get that, at 38 years old, and have the ability to work with a company that I truly believed in, which is Zavell, and, really work on the structure with Matt and what we really wanted to accomplish, which is helping people with their mindset and their body, and building something that was pure and heartfelt and for all the right reasons. And then everything else falls into place. That's the beautiful thing about taking all the skeletons out of the closet. They can't be used against you after that. It's out there, right? And we all make mistakes, so we all have a past. And that's the beauty of what we're trying to accomplish here at Zavell is, throw all the negativity out. Your past doesn't define you, okay? It's a mistake. You learn from it, you move on, and that doesn't define who you are today. So the future is always brighter because you have the ability to wake up every single day and make it better. As long as you're working towards a better future, then you're working towards something that is even greater than yourself. So that's something to always remind yourself, as you wake up, is that it's a new day and it's a new opportunity and it's a new ability to streamline processes that will better your life.
Yeah, absolutely. It'd be like assuming that, you read the first chapter of any book and that chapter just repeats itself. That'd be a horrible book. Nobody would ever even read that book, right? Nobody would ever even think about reading that book. Or you watch a TV show and outside of The Walking Dead, right, that just repeats itself kind of over and over and over again, or an AC/DC album where they've released the same one 14, 15, 20 times. But anyways, so
still great though.
It is still great. It's still amazing. But you would never watch the first 5 minutes of a movie over and over and over and over and over again for 2 hours. Why? Because you expect something to change. You expect something to get better. You expect something to get greater, and you expect a resolution to the conflict that's occurring. And yet in our daily lives, we walk into these things and go, Monday sucks. It's Monday. It's going to be Monday. Next week it's Monday again, right? And we repeat ourselves over and over and over and over and over again, as opposed to saying, you know what? I can change Monday because I can actually change Sunday. I can change how I sleep. I can change how I eat. I can change just my thought process. I can wake up in the morning and I can put a smile on my face. I can change literally this next chapter, this next page, this next sentence or paragraph in my life. And that's going to have an impact to change my story. And so we really have to remind ourselves about that. And that's where, again, friends come in, is they're reminding us that there is a better chance. There is more hope in the future. Why? Because the future hasn't been written yet. It hasn't been done yet. In the past, you can't change anything. You can't change the first chapters of your story that have already been written, but you can sure as heck change the next ones. And that's where good friends come into play, and good parents and good kids. My kids call me on my stuff as well, and keep me on the straight and narrow sometimes. And I learn from them. I learn lots of patience from them. That's for sure. So
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
And that goes for me too. I have three beautiful children and an amazing wife, and I think that you can learn knowledge from every single person, no matter what their age is or ethnicity or demographic. One thing I was
And your network is the easiest way to build a network is be nice.
Yeah.
Be nice to every single person that you meet all the time, because your network starts with your reputation. You're not going to be able to create a network if you have a bad reputation, right? You think about like a cell network. If they have really, really bad reception all the place, all the time, and that's how they started out, let's just say that, Verizon or AT&T, right?
He's Verizon and I'm AT&T. We have this conversation all the time. We go back and forth with each other on AT&T and Verizon.
Absolutely. So you're on a spotty network like AT&T
or Verizon,
and then Verizon, you're like, wow, this place is amazing.
Or AT&T.
However, both of them started off small, right? Both of them started off with one tower, and that one tower actually had good service, right? And they were able to expand out from there greatly, like Verizon, or more selective
AT&T.
like AT&T
or Verizon.
And so what you're getting though is they don't start off with bad cell reception, right? They start off with something that works, and it's small, and that's your way of. The wind is coming up here apparently.
Yeah, and it looks like we're about to have a storm here in Nashville, so that's okay.
That's right. It's not 12 inches of snow like in Nebraska, so we're good.
Absolutely.
I know that at least I can drive. So what I'm getting at is you start off with being nice to everybody, right? We've talked about it ad nauseum. The person that's at the deli counter, you be really, really nice to them. So every time that you come in, they're actually happy to see you, right? The person that's at the gas station, the person that's at Walmart checking you out, whatever it is, everybody that you come in contact with, you build your reputation by that. And that's how we built Alpha Rehab, is literally reputation. We didn't pay for advertising. We did the right thing to the right people all the time. Anyone that came in, we treated them like family, and we gave of our time. There was multiple times when people would come in, and I would sit there for an hour, because we would just talk about their lives, because that was actually more important than the therapy that I could have done with them that day. I didn't charge them anything. I just gave them my time because they were worth it. I didn't do it to build my reputation. I did it because that's the type of person that I am. Just like we're giving the time, we're doing this mentorship here for free, right? We're giving our time, we're giving our energy, because that's the right thing to do. And that's what's going to build your network. Because then when you call and ask for something for somebody, a friend or whatever, they're going to be very willing to help you, because you've done that for people, and that's who you are.
It's called a servant's heart. I mean, guys, it's so much easier to be nice, plain and simple. I mean, you'd be surprised how infectious positivity is and kindness is. Somewhere along, along all of our paths, we've been told that we don't have gold, and we've been told that we don't deserve certain things. That's something that's really dear to my heart, that I want to try to change as much as I can with as many people as I can. We all have greatness in us, and there's no reason that we all can't accomplish more than we think that we can. Okay, and if we all work as a group to try to change the mindset of what we feel about ourselves, but also about other people, we're all going to be better, because we're all having a servant's heart. And that took me 38 years to really realize. I was on a trajectory of understanding that, but the more that I relinquished what I thought was power, and the more that I really tuned into what was, for me, what was powerful, is the evaluation of what kindness truly is. It's the ability to do something for somebody without wanting anything in return. I want you to think about this. In today's society, when somebody does something nice for you, the first place most people's mindsets go to is, what's the catch? Why? 50 years ago, that was normal. And so we have to get back to where our roots are, and how this beautiful country started, and how the world actually even started, which is, we want to try to be positive, and we want to try to uplift as many people as we can, and we want to try to nurture and build a group that is trying to redefine health, no pun intended, but also within the mind. I think that's really important. And, Matt, he went to Creighton University. Him and his wife are both doctors. And it was very simple for them to fix the body, like Matt always says. But what was really hard was to fix what's between here. And the reason for that is that it's been trained not to think in a certain way. It's been trained to be overloaded with everything around it. And what happens when something gets overloaded and it doesn't have time to reset? It crashes. And so we're trying to fix that within not only ourselves, but within a group of people trying to make things better. And do we have a mountain to climb? Yes. But guess what? Every mountain can be climbed. That's the thing that nobody gets. You just have to have the right tools and the right group around you to get it accomplished.
Yeah. So as Justin was talking about, was Avail with the mentorship, with this whole thing that we're doing here, the image popped in my, and then he said it right at the end, you got to have the right tools, right? And the image that was actually in my head was a 49er, okay, not the football team, but back in the day, panning for gold. They had to have the right tools of the right pan, right? They had to have, their channels and all this kind of stuff that, to sift it out. And a lot of the gold, the way that they were looking for gold, which is exactly what we're doing with all of you guys, is we're looking for those little tiny specks. We know that gold, everybody has gold in them, like massive untapped potential in them. Right. And we're looking for those little tiny specks. And when that happens, we see it and we grab a hold of it, right? And then we grab a hold of it from somebody over here and here, and we start pulling on that, like a panhandler, right? Somebody that's sifting for gold. And they start to find bigger nuggets and they follow that trail back to the gold vein. And when they tap into that thing, they have wealth beyond their imagination. And that's what we want to do with you guys, right? Is we're looking for that little bit of gold, and we call upon that gold. We pull on it, right? We try to offer our own gold at the same time. We're kind of putting ours in with yours, and then it starts to group together, and then the nuggets form, and then it's just this chain reaction between us, between you guys and everybody, to strike it rich, right? Within our personal lives, to get after things and have amazing returns on that effort. All of you guys, we're just looking for that little bit of gold because you have that in you. You have these deep, deep veins of gold within you. We just have to look for how we're going to pull it out. And now we are getting some rain. So it feels like spring though here. It's amazing.
It's amazing. It's like between 65 and 70 here.
It's like a 70-degree shift from where it was. Yeah. Over the weekend when we moved my dad, it was brutal, right? It was, I think, 10 degrees out, 40-mile-an-hour winds, 12 inches of snow, and we were outside working for 4 hours straight, just back and forth. But Mason was there, my brother Ryan was there, and I was there, and my dad was there. And we didn't all try to do the same thing, right? This is kind of full circle. We come back in, right? How do we ask for help? I called everybody and said, hey, can you do it this weekend? They say, yes, wonderful. They have value, I have value, Dad definitely has value. And then we all went and did it. Dad and I did our piece. We went up and we packed ahead of time. Ryan and Mason came up with the truck. And then we ran into obstacles. The truck was sliding sideways and we got stuck and all these things were occurring. And we worked together to get it out. And then once we got it out, we had the other problem is how do we actually get the stuff out of my dad's house into the truck? Yeah. Well, we all have skill sets. I'm strong, I work out, so I know that I'm going to be moving boxes. Mason actually worked for a couple summers with a moving company, so we knew that he loaded the truck properly. My brother, again, big guy, he had muscles, right? He could move things. Dad, you know what? Post-cancer treatment, he isn't going to be moving things, but he could stage things, right? He could help, kind of get things moved in the right direction and, help along with the organization type of a thing. So we all had our gold. And when we put it all together, we actually